Welcome to today's market report. European stock markets edged higher to record levels on Thursday, boosted by additional stimulus in the form of the new US infrastructure plan, which overshadowed COVID worries. DAX in Germany traded 0.6% higher at an all-time high. CAC 40 rose 0.2%, FTSE 100 gained 0.5%, while the blue chip Euro Stoxx 50 gained 0.4%, also at an all-time high. Offering support was the news that President Joe Biden is set to inject another $2 trillion into the US economy, the world's driver, with spending on roads, railways, broadband, clean energy, and semiconductor manufacture, funded in part by a sharp rise in corporate taxes. The plan is likely to face opposition from Republicans in Congress, but it comes fresh on the heels of a $1.9 trillion pandemic relief package. The news in Europe is less encouraging, with President Emmanuel Macron on Wednesday ordering France into its third national lockdown as he sought to push back a third wave of COVID-19 infections. New infection numbers hit their highest since November this week in Europe's second largest economy, while the number of those in intensive care is now approaching the peak of the first wave last year. Pressure is also rising in Germany for the reintroduction of tougher lockdown measures, while Sweden's government will postpone a planned easing of some restrictions until the start of May. German retail sales disappointed in February, falling 9% on the year and only climbing 1.2% on the month. The final manufacturing PMI data for the European Union are due later in the session. ASML stock rose 1.6% to a record high, with the semiconductor sector in demand during the COVID-19 pandemic as consumers buy more electronics for their homes. Vinci stock rose 3% after the French infrastructure company said it will buy the energy business of Spain's ASML for €4.9 billion, a move that beefs up its exposure to renewable energy significantly. In the UK, Next shares rose 3.2% to an all-time high after publishing strong earnings and an upbeat look ahead to the reopening of its physical stores. Deliveroo stock fell 1% as Europe's biggest IPO of the year today failed to generate even a modest bounce after slumping by nearly one-third on its debut. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co, the world's largest contract chip manufacturer, announced plans earlier on Thursday to invest $100 billion over the next 3 years to increase capacity at its plants. Oil prices pushed higher on Thursday on expectations that a group of top producers will agree to largely maintain output curbs into May at a meeting later in the session, given the surge of COVID-19 cases in many regions. US crude futures traded 1.5% higher at $60.05 per barrel. Brent contract rose 1.4% to $63.60 per barrel. Gold futures rose 0.2% to $1,719.75 per ounce. On the FX front, the GBP-USD pair refreshed daily tops during the early European session, albeit quickly retreated a few pips thereafter. The pair was last seen trading around 137.80 to 137.85 region, nearly unchanged for the day. The pair attracted some dipping buying for the second straight session on Thursday and was supported by a combination of factors. The yield on the benchmark 10-year US government bond retreated further from 14-month tops and slipped to the 1.70% threshold. This in turn kept the US dollar bulls on the defensive and extended some support to the GBP-USD pair. The British pound got an additional boost after the UK manufacturing PMI was revised higher to 58.9 for March, as against 57.9 estimated earlier. Against the backdrop of Britain's swift rollout of COVID-19 vaccines and the gradual reopening from pandemic-related restrictions, The data supported prospects for a swift recovery for the UK economy. Expectations, however, for a relatively faster US economic recovery from the pandemic helped limit any meaningful downside for the greenback and capped any further gains for the cable pair. Investors remain optimistic about outlook for the US economy amid the impressive pace of coronavirus vaccinations and President Biden's spending plan. Eurodollar manages to regain some composure and bounces off recent yearly lows in the 117 neighborhood. The dollar index was up 0.1% at 93.312, having hit a 5-month high earlier. Dollar yen was at 110.78, having hit its highest level in a year. This is today's market news. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.